Every note you hear me play is wasted. The energy to get this way, it's waste. 'Cause my heart won't burn, it gives no light. There's only one thing left tonight. The sound of wasting all I've left on you. Every key that I possess is wasted. I'll strike them hard, I'll do my best, but it's waste. 'Cause my heart won't burn, it gives no light. There's only one thing left tonight. The sound of wasting all I've left on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit love-hate really on music streaming and Spotify. I mean, what it has done is it's given us an avenue for our music to be heard by a relatively large number of people. I think I mentioned to Eric the other day that we were getting close to 1 million streams on Spotify. I never would have imagined that would happen. So just in terms of its reach, it's been fantastic, and it makes it relatively easy for your audience and your fans to get to your tracks and get to know you. What it does do is there's a kind of laziness to it as well, in the sense that often the way people, I mean that's the way I see it, I'm sure other people wouldn't see it like this, but people dip in and out of your music a lot, and kind of idea of an album becomes perhaps less treasured, I guess. People might listen to 1, 2, maybe 3 of your tracks.
It's a bit of both. Well, it is adding atmosphere. Obviously, it just suits the music, and I really like. One thing that I think is a bit too ubiquitous now with electronic bands is they all have visuals, in terms of a screen with visuals, and we've played a couple of festivals, electronic music festival, where we've been the only band not to do that, and I think we've stood out because I think good atmospheric lighting can add a hell of a lot. And the other thing is a quote that I really love, which is from Graham Lewis, bass player of Wire, that said, with lighting, live lighting, you're lighting the songs, not the people. And that's so important, and I hate it, I don't really like it at a gig where I think you see it too often that they're lighting the people and not the songs. So I think that's the philosophy to have. Well, it's a bit of both. I do most of them, and John's done a couple, and they're better because I think he's a lot more patient, a lot more skilled at that. It's really to be brutally honest, it's about having a presence on YouTube. There's a statistic I read that 70% of people that go onto YouTube do it to listen to music, and that's still the case. If I, because I'm not really a streamer, if I default and I want to find a song or something, I tend to go straight onto YouTube to look it up, whether it's got video or not. And it's really to have a presence on YouTube. We've built up, a reasonable number of subscribers that way, who aren't subscribed to us on other platforms, incidentally. And it's a nice way of just highlighting moments from the back catalogue. There's a wonderful website called archive.org, which is all public domain material, films, sounds, etc. And we tend to plunder that for the material. And the B-movies just became a bit of a theme, almost by accident. But I think the black and white kind of suits Sculptor name. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Eric, as a lyric writer, would agree with this, but often, for me, listening to his lyrics, you can sometimes interpret them in different ways, depending on what you hear, and I guess purely by accident, but using some of those old black and white films, they're quite suggestive sometimes, and they work really well, I find, with the songs, because they kind of suggest certain emotions, and but not in a very obvious way. What I can't stand in music videos is that's a very obvious way of suggesting emotion, and actually doing it that way is a bit more subtle, I think.
Yeah, you can't be too literal with videos, I agree. And it's become a bit of an aesthetic, which is nice. But it does suit us, because if you think of the sort of cover arts material, the cover art and packaging of our albums, think of Careful What You Wish For, a very old photograph, Paper Wraps Rock, it was an old map, there's a vintageness to a lot of what we do, so I think it does fit. I think impatience is part of it. There's that saying that if something doesn't exist until you write it down. So even if I've written an initial song, I've just done a very rough, recorded the melody, or just on my guitar on a phone, I still, there's an enthusiasm when you write it. And you think, all those ideas start popping in your head in terms of the directions it could go in, particularly if you think it's a really good song. So basically, I'm excited by the recording process, and I'm excited to get down to actually recording it. Often that same evening, same night, I might start looking at drum loops and bass lines and things, and that's really it. And then we talked earlier about how instantaneous John's input is, so that tends to make things quite quick, and we just keep on going, keep on recording. We seem to amass songs quite quickly, and you either have them sitting around, lying around, or you do something with them. So we tend to try and pull them together and release them as an album, really. So there's a lot of just lack of patience that I think is driving it, and yes, strong work ethic certainly, but that's because this is the thing, and John can talk about from his perspective, that I like doing the most. I don't really want to watch telly, I don't really want to go out and play sports or whatever. I like working on music.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I do find that, not to be corny about it, but if not doing music, you sort of, as Eric says, you feel like you're wasting your time a bit if you're doing something else, because we love doing it. Definitely Eric is the more of the driver in terms of pushing that. I work much better too, so the fact that he pushes that along helps me. I work much better to a bit more pressure and a deadline, and the fact that we often write to a project, so we decide to do another album, helps, because it's sort of working to a project. What I can't do so well is work just recording for the sake of it without any kind of end game or result in something.
And that's very interesting. Again, it's that dichotomy of I am quite driven like that, but I'm constantly working on tracks, constantly chipping away from it. John, it's less frequent, but when he does it, it's very quick and instantaneous, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's a good match, I think.
10 years from now, what we'll have found is certainty. No need to think, all down with the blink of an eye. None of the cars will have reached for the stars for an eternity. I predict, they predict hell. I predict
a few favourite gigs, I would say, so for different reasons. So definitely the bigger ones, so something like the Tabernacle with Brett Hanson was an incredible gig. Because it was playing with such an established act and one that I really like, but just the sound, the difference in sound quality, and the fact that there was a huge audience there and it was a great venue makes it very memorable. One of my favourite gigs though was actually a house concert when we went on tour. So technically, well, yes, a gig, but a gig with a difference. We were very kindly hosted by a guy called Jeff Brenneman, who put on a house concert for us in his house, and it was such an attentive and warm audience who kind of just gave us free rein to do what we want. And it was a very different kind of experience, but very memorable, I thought.
Yeah, those were great, and you know, those gigs abroad have been great just because of the adventure of playing and being abroad and you feel like a real band, you know. So there's gigs we did, you know, gigs in Berlin
and Clark in Belgium,
Cologne, Tuxedo Moon was a great one. A gig that I always sticks in my head, which is quite a recent one, 3 years ago, was when we played the O2 Academy and also the Trees and In the Nursery, just because the sound was fantastic, the lighting was fantastic. There's some great photos from that gig, and I remember coming. Even Jazz Cafe. You forget about that one. We did Jazz Cafe about a year and a half ago. I thought we smashed it, you know, and that was packed. So yeah. Different gigs for different reasons, probably many we've forgotten.
Well, hopefully doing this really, and doing more albums and continue and more, you know, keeping to get better and better hopefully, and develop the music even more. I think it would be nice to have some, you know, form of more recognition, I guess, and we're starting to get that in different places, albeit on a, you know, not a massive scale. But yeah, I guess just doing what we're doing, building what we're doing now. Yeah,
and I'd agree with that. Hopefully 5 years, that's at least 2 more albums, isn't it, for Calling a Name? So I just hope that and I hope that the quality, you know, of what we're doing continues to be something that we're happy with, and that we get better and better, which I believe, you know, we genuinely believe we have, you know, over the years. I'd like to have done a few more festivals in terms of gigs by then, and being able to play abroad and playing with other people.
A few more film soundtracks maybe.
Film soundtracks would be very nice. Yeah. But that and recognition will come, and we'll you know, it's continuing to grow. So just keeping on what we're doing. You know, we've been quite successful in just treading a very steady path, and we're just going to continue to tread that, I think.
Oh, that's hard. It changes. I've got a real fondness for some of our older tracks and albums. I think if I was pushed, it would probably be one of the 3 A albums, so Another Landing, Above Us Below, or Adrenaline. Pretty closely run between all of them, and I could choose one of them on a different day. Today, probably Above Us Below, I'd say. Favourite track? Well, again, it changes an awful lot. One Kiss Then Home is one of my favourites. Generation That is always kind of doesn't often get picked out, that track actually, but I've always been really fond of it. Today's the Day, and there's certainly, I think, Another Landing has got really strong showing, so Not Stranger Than Fiction. I really love as a track, but of course I love the 2 latest albums, but I kind of find that they almost need time for them to get to know them. I think hopefully that's a good quality of our music, that it grows and you have to get to kind of know it over multiple listens. So I'm sure it will change to those albums in the future, we'll see.
And I would, Above Us Below, I would agree with that one. I think that's definitely one of the best albums. I like Care of the Dog a lot, actually. I think as an album it hangs together really nicely and cohesively as a set of songs. With me, you know, I like songs for stupid reasons, and albums for stupid. You know, it could be a song because of the lyric, or I've used a chord that I don't often use, and really stupid muso reasons. So there are some of those reasons in terms of favourite tracks and things. Lyrics wise, is quite different to music as well. You know, I like just random. I like a few more. I mean, Swept Away. They're the obvious ones, but a few more curveball ones. There's a track called Walter and Wally, which I really like the lyrics for, and I really like that as a song. I like I Don't Fear the Reaper, Just Don't Want to Meet Her from Air of the Dog a lot. Quite proud of When I Was a Girl as well. Today's the Day, which John mentioned, is another overlooked track, I think.
I see the prize, your prying eyes, I know. I'll reach out and I won't let go. So where's something real? I'll chase it down, through town, I'll pass until it's firmly in my grasp. Put your trust in me.